DJ Steve.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be doing a undercut fade with curls on top. This client here doesn't usually have curls. He gets a perm, so he wants it as long as he can possibly get it. Doesn't really like much length taken off the top, just likes it really thinned out just so it kind of flows a little bit better. Right now all that I'm doing is really just pinning the hair up to get it out of the way. I don't want to cut any of the curls off, and then we will start the fade. I always like to start off with this guy with a 2 open. In this video specifically we're going to be doing the fade down technique, so I'm not going to really have any guidelines. I'm just going to be stacking my guards all the way down to skin. Once we get all the hair even with this 2 open, we're going to close the 2 guard up and stack right below where we were with the 2 open. After that, we're going to be following through with the 1.5 guard all the way open. In the same process we did with the number 2, we're going to be stacking right below where that number 2 close was, closing up that 1.5 guard, so on and so forth, all the way down till we're down to the skin. I feel like stacking your guards is definitely more of an advanced technique in barbering. You got to kind of understand how a fade works before you try stacking those guards, because it's kind of easy to put another line in. For me, if I see another line getting formed up, you'll probably see me with the clipper. I'll just open it back up, push it up just a notch, close it back up, and stack right where I ended. What I like to do while stacking the guards, once I get to this half guard, I'll close it up. I'll start open, I'll close it up halfway, and then I'll close it up all the way. Then I'll jump right into my trimmers and put my initial guideline in, and then work that guideline out with my clipper, no guard, open to close, and you'll see how it works in a second. You want to remember too, when you put that initial guideline in, you want to follow the shape of the client's head. You can see where the ridge is where I pin the hair up. My guideline kind of follows the same shape that ridge is on my client, underneath that occipital bone. Right here I have my no guard. I started open, slowly closing, just attacking that line, just really just tapping at that line until it fades right out. Here you can see that line's pretty much out. I'm going to go back through in detail. I kind of pushed the line up just a touch, so I'm going to put my half guard back on, start open, close it up slowly, and eventually right back down to my no guard, just using my corners to detail the fade before I move on to the other side. You guys see here, I have another pair of trimmers. I use these Flash FXs as a soft trimmer, so these aren't zero gaps. And then I have my BABYLISS FXs, straight 0 gap, that I use my edges and clean up the bald area with. Those Flash FXs that are my soft trimmer are really nice to get that initial guideline out, because it gives you that leeway, because it's not 0 gaps. You're not going to be pushing that line back up. Going through the same steps on this side, guys, starting with my 2 guard open, working my way down all the way to skin. So I'm going to start 2 open, close that up, 1.5 open, close that up, 1 open, close that up, just stacking my guards, picking up where I left off with that next guard. I'm going to let you guys follow along on this side. It's going to be the same steps as the last. most difficult part about stacking guards is remembering the shape of the head while you're fading and not pushing one side up higher than the other. You got to consciously remember how the other side looked. While you're stacking your guards and you think you see another line being formed from that last guard that you were using, just open that guard back up or go back up a guard and close it, and that'll work that line right out. Same process on this side, guys, just putting that bald line in with my Flash FXs, which are my soft trimmer, and cleaning up with my BABYLISS FXs to get all the hair off. Use no guard open, close it up little by little, just attacking that line and trying not to push that line up. You can see I'm using mainly my corners for this. As long as you use your corners, you're not going to create another line. Remember, you always want to go back through the haircut and detail. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just tapping at these lines. I'll put a couple guards on. I do see a little line at the top here. That's where I'm going back in with my one guard open. And it looks like I'm using the full blade, but I'm honestly just using the corner. Just trying to lighten up that ridge. Now once you get to the back, you're just pretty much matching each side to it. You'll see me kind of move the chair. A lot of it's just me swinging the client back and forth. I always ask, make sure they're not getting dizzy halfway through the cut. They always get a laugh out of it. And then it's gonna be a mid to high fade. That's just how the client likes it. Once his hair gets let down, you really don't see the fade. Same process, stacking my guards, starting with my two open, working my way down. Everyone knows the back of the head, the hair growth is a lot thicker. So you're going to have to kind of work at this a little bit more than you did the sides just to get it to match up. But eventually it'll just click and you'll see everything come together. And like I said earlier in the video, if you end up seeing another line, just open that guard back up, flick at that line that you think you created, and it'll just disappear. When you're putting this bald line in, you're just matching up where the other bald lines were. You can kind of see, when you're up and close, you can see where that initial guideline was because you didn't really fade out all the way to that long hair. So you're just connecting the two, cleaning up the back, and then the same process. I go from putting my bald line in to no guard open, creating that first initial guideline, working my way down, and you're gonna have to go up a little bit higher. On the sides, I know I went about a ½ inch. On the back, you're pretty much going a full inch. And you can see I'm creating another guideline just above where I was, but I'm gonna follow that up with my 0.5 guard and it'll disappear. The back of the head is going to be a lot more detail work, a lot more using your corners flicking out, trying to get that line to lighten up, and then following back through with your 0.5 guard, your 1 guard. Shoot, you might have to use your trimmers again just to knock that line back out, but use your corners and you will not push that fade up. As you see here, I'm using my Flash FXs just to get that line again. I'm just tapping at that line with my corners, really just softening it up. Once I'm done with that, I'm content with the line being gone. I'm going to follow through a clipper over a comb, just attacking that ridge, lightening it up little by little. This hair here, I kind of like to keep a little bit longer so the hair on the top has something to sit on. It just kind of gives it that more full look rather than the hair hanging down over his ears, if that makes sense. It kind of has a little ledge for that hair on top to kind of poof out. Like I said at the beginning of the video, my client doesn't like too much length taken off the top. He does like it out of his eyes in the front, so I do a different technique in the front. But on the side and back, all I use is my thinning razor, thin the hair out, so when he puts the product in with the perm, it makes the hair stand up straight. It's a lot less weight on the back and sides of the head. So all I'm doing is combing the hair, holding the hair pretty taut in between my fingers, and just slicing in between the hair strands to lighten it up. Once I get to the front here, I'm going to saturate the hair again, and I'm going to pretty much be point cutting with my shears just to get it out of his eyes. I'm using my fingers underneath the hair to kind of mark where his eyes are at, and I'm trying not to go straight across. Once I need a little bit more length off, I go straight across, and you'll see I'll point cut again just to texturize it, not give it such a blunt cut. You got to keep in the back of your head too, once the hair is dried and he uses his curling cream and whatever other products he uses for his perm, his hair is going to scrunch right up and it's not going to be as long as it looks right now in his face. The hair seems super long on this side, so you see I'm just cutting straight across, traveling guideline right to pretty much where his ear was, and then now I'm going to go back through and point cut just to texturize the front of it. It looked extra long on this side versus the other side. I'm going to throw my C cup in. There's really not much of a cut to do, and he doesn't like the vertical bars, kind of takes away from the front. This is the finished product, guys. I appreciate y'all checking in on my video. The beat is from DJ Steez. I'll put a link in the description below. Give me a thumbs up, hit that subscription button. I appreciate you guys.